Alright, what's up everyone, my name is Alpha and today we're back with another Pokemon Challenge video. Today we're on Pokemon Emerald Rogue. It's the most popular ROM hack right now on the scene. Everyone's been playing it. So everyone's been trying their hands at it and I think it's my turn to try my hands at it. So today's challenge will be, can I beat Pokemon Emerald Rogue using only the first 5 Pokeballs? Now, there's actually some backstory to this. Before I get into that, let me actually explain what Emerald Rogue is. Emerald Rogue is a roguelike style of Pokemon ROM hack. So at the beginning of the game, you always can start with 3 options for a starter Pokemon. You can pick one of them, and then you can go into this area where you start your game actually. So you always have the starter. You can reset and you get new starters. They're always randomized. Everything is randomized in this game essentially. And your goal is to get all 8 gym badges and beat the Elite Four without blacking out at all. If you black out at all, the game is essentially over. And I've tried multiple challenges on this actually. I've had to get my way around the game. If I ever lose once, I have to restart completely. During the game, you actually have level caps for each gym, so it goes into intervals like 15 to like 30. And also throughout the game, you will get items where you pick up for free. There's also a lot of things to do. It's always randomized. It's a completely new game each time. As you can see in the background, my first few attempts, I'm attempting a no capture Pokemon in Emerald Rogue. It did not go too well, but I'll come back to this challenge in the future. Today's challenge, I'm gonna focus on beating Emerald Rogue using only the first 5 Pokeballs. The first 5 Pokeballs you're giving from Professor Birch is the only Pokeballs I can use to capture Pokemon. And so it's essentially the first 5 Pokemon I really want to capture. I could run away from anyone, it's just I have to use my Pokeballs for them. And also a quick rule before we get into the video, each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys in the comments. So thanks so much for leaving a nickname in my previous challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after a future Pokemon in my future challenge video, just drop it in the comments and hopefully I'll pick yours. And while you're down there, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me that you guys do and support my channel. Anyways, let's get into the challenge video itself. So to begin off our challenge, you can see all my failures before we actually head into this challenge. We actually start at the starter table and we get ourselves a Shroomish, which is actually gonna be a decent Pokemon because I knew it's gonna evolve pretty early once I get through the first gym of the game. And our first Pokemon that we find in the wild that I actually want to capture is gonna be a Lapras because I know Lapras is tanky and I need someone that could live moves and also survive to the end. And Lapras is a really good Pokemon. From there, we're actually going to go into these areas. Each area is actually different, but I want to prioritize getting new Pokemon. We didn't find anyone else in this new route, so we actually go out and face off against the first gym leader in the game. The first gym leader's level cap is going to be level 15, and we actually face off against Flannery as our first gym leader. Did I mention every single gym leader is randomized, so you could fight anyone at any point. So getting Flannery on the first one is actually pretty good, so that means I don't have to face her later with a better team. And also my Lapras actually solos her, as you can see, as I'm able to body slam everything down and not use a water move at all. So we're able to beat Flannery and get the level cap boosted up, so we're actually able to evolve my Shroomish into a Breloom, which is actually amazing for us. It doesn't learn that great of moves. I'm not gonna lie, Breloom does not learn great moves at all. From there though, we actually found ourselves a shiny Rhyhorn, which I'm not getting captured because it's most likely gonna die. We don't get Rhyperior in this game. They don't have that kind of update, I don't believe. But from there, we actually found ourselves a Laleep, which we actually captured on our first ball. So I'm making sure I make a note on that. So we have 3 more balls after this. From there, we're gonna actually sell all the Pokeballs we don't need because we're not gonna use them anyways. And we're gonna actually go into these mart areas where you're able to find new items, new TMs, and get yourselves ready for the next gym fight. I'm gonna refer to where we are at the moment as a floor because that's gonna be our level cap and that's where our goal is. So the main boss for this, we're gonna face off against Juan. Juan's gonna be the water type gym leader. As you can see, I'm able to beat down his Omanyte and also his Wartortle pretty easily with my Lapras. Lapras is just a great Pokemon. I'm so glad I went out and found one. It was probably the MVP of my game until a little later. You'll see why. But we're able to beat down a Krabby as well. My Pokemon is getting low on PP, which I have to make a mention of that. You get to recover yourself at certain stages if you actually go to specific healing stations, but that's all depending on the route you take. But my Breloom's able to knock out Juan pretty easily, and from there we're able to go out into the next route and get ourselves a Mudkip, which actually is a pretty decent Pokemon. I do have some TMs for it. We have TM Earthquakes already. I knew I was gonna need it anyways. From there though, we could go into these battle prep areas and these healing areas. You're able to heal yourself and also prep yourself and get some better moves from these people. It costs money. money is also a resource for you to utilize, and which is actually pretty interesting. It actually makes use of money for once. And from there, we could actually head into the boss fight of this floor. We face off against Roxanne, which isn't too bad of a fight since we have multiple water types and also Breloom. Breloom's able to easily beat down the Graveler. I use Headbutt because I thought it does have Sturdy. It does probably have Sturdy, but Sturdy doesn't work like this in this game, I don't think. So I'm able to Mach Punch and also knock out the Lairon. Anorith comes out next. I shouldn't have risked this. I'm not sure why I risked it, but I used the Citrus Berry up. I'm toxic, so I should switch out. I switched out into my Lapras. Water Gun's able to knock out the Anorith, luckily. And then from there, the Omanyte comes out. It's not a threat at all, as we're able to Water Gun and knock out the Omanyte, and we get our 3rd gym badge. It's pretty easy. From there, we're going to actually head into a very difficult route, the Sandy area. There's a Combuskin in here for us for some reason, and we're going to take the liberty of just capturing this Combuskin because I feel like it's going to be a pretty good Pokemon. We get him to low HP and actually catch him, which is really nice. From there, we're actually going to evolve everyone. So everyone starts evolving. My Marshtomp evolves into a Swampert, Combuskin into a Blaziken, and then Lileep will evolve into a Cradily. Everyone just evolves on this floor, which is nice. I did encounter myself a Skarmory. I was considering catching the Skarmory because it was going to be a really good Pokemon, but I ran away from it because I thought there's going to be something better. I did not find something better until much later. So from there, I'm just going to sell the rest of my stuff that I don't really need. Like, I don't need these nest balls. I have 1 ball left to use and capture a Pokemon. Sell my return TMs. I'm not going to use those. I need some Ethers because the PP I use for my moves are really running low. So I got to be careful of that. From there, we're going to face off against the floor boss of this. We're going to face off against Winona next. Winona's the 4th gym leader, 5th gym leader, something like that, gym leader. And we're going to start the battle off against her using my Swampert to face off against Yama, which actually is kind of walling me. She wastes a lot of Muddy Waters, but I'm able to knock her out with a Muddy Water. Her next Pokemon will be a Swallow. It gets a boost in attack with a berry, so that's not good. Luckily enough, I am able to survive a return from him because Swampert's pretty tanky, and Muddy Water is able to knock him out. I should have switched out to my Cradily, thinking back. Hindsight's 2020. I switched out to my Blaziken next to just set up bulk ups in front of the Ladian, which isn't a smart move at all because I'm setting up Substitute and Reflex and Light Screens. Eventually, he's going to switch out into her Aerodactyl, which I cannot mess with. I decided to switch out to my Cradily finally, taking Earthquake, not too well at all. And then I switch out into my Lapras. Luckily enough, that thing can survive and attack pretty well. And then I gotta risk it. I had to go for an Ice Beam. I should have went for an Ice Beam to begin with. I'm not too sure why I went for a Confuse Ray. But lucky enough, it hits itself in confusion, and I'm able to Ice Beam, knock him out. And then her next Pokemon will be that Ladian. I switched back out into my Blaziken. Blaziken's getting a Blaze Kick into him and then bulk up multiple times to get the Ladian to switch out. And then I'm able to knock him out with a Slash as Reflect wears off finally. And finish off against Winona with my Blaziken. And, well, we got very lucky with that confusion hit. But we'll take that. We'll take how it is. From there, we're actually running out of any items because we're not getting any good items anymore. So it's kind of scary. So I have to go to the Pokemart, sell a bunch of items, and get some more resources. From there, we're gonna head into the next boss battles. I think this is the 5th gym leader because they're at level 55, I assume. So we're gonna start the battle off against Watson using my Lapras against his Jolteon. Maybe a not great play, but it was raining, so I assume I could take any special attack move, and I was right. I was able to take a Thunderbolt and Hydro Pump to knock out the Jolteon. I'm gonna switch out into my Swampert as he predicts it and goes for a Focus Punch. I did not realize I only have 1 Earthquake on my ground type, so I have to be careful with it. I used it on Ampharos. I'm able to knock him out, and then the Manectric comes out. It just goes down to 1 Muddy Water. I was like, okay. I take another Hidden Power from the Electrode, and Muddy Water will knock him out as well. His next Pokemon will be this Plusle, which isn't too big of a threat. I mean, it is doing some kind of damage to me, which is kind of annoying, but I get a Leech Seed off on him, so that's something. I gotta switch out my Breloom because it's really doing a lot of damage to everyone. A Thunder almost knocks out my Blaziken. I switched out into my Cradily. Lucky enough, Cradily is the only thing that can knock out this Plusle, as I'm able to beat down Watson. That was pretty scary, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what I was doing. From there, we could actually speed up and face off against the next gym leader. We face off against Brawly next. Brawly's a pretty easy battle. I start the battle off against him using my Blaziken to just bulk up right in front of his Breloom, which isn't the best play, but like, I mean, it's free bulk ups. I mean, he goes for a Spore, it puts me to sleep. I wake up and then go for a bulk up, and then I could Blaze Kick into him or Slash. I think I opt to Slash because it was 100% going to hit. And I knock out his Breloom, his Hitmonlee, and his Hitmontop. Even though it gets intimidated on me, I'm able to also knock out the Poliwrath, which is pretty easy, and the Medicham. So that was pretty easy. We beat down Brawly with a setup mon. And now the battles are getting pretty hard though. As you see, I get a fully grown Dragonite in my face. That thing is pretty scary. It's only 5 levels under me, so it could be pretty dangerous. I gotta be careful with that. From there, we move on to the floor boss. We face off against Norman. Norman's gonna be the 7th Elite Four member, maybe? Norman is the 6th gym leader in the game, I believe. We're gonna start the battle off against him using my Blaziken just to... Okay, well, Sky Uppercut would knock out his Kecleon for sure, which is a free fight. He then sets out his Tauros, which intimidates me, so I gotta switch out into my Cradily. I get a Confusion on it, and then I'm able to get an Ancient Power. It doesn't do too much as I switch into my Breloom. On its actually Confusion hit, so I'm able to Mach Punch and knock out the Tauros, and then Headbutt and get the flinch on the Wigglytuff. That's what we go for. Mach Punch to knock him out pretty easily. Mach Punch to knock out the Persian in 2 shots. And then the spin that comes out, I'm able to 2-shot him. He puts me to sleep though, but I'm able to 2-shot him. Things are pretty easy. And I'm able to 1-shot his Apom. I don't know why he has an Apom. I think this is the reason why it needs to be updated with the new mons, but I think they're gonna work on that in the future. And then we're gonna move out into this next area, which is gonna be a calm rugged. I don't even know what that means, but it's gonna be a very nice area with very strong Pokemon, like a Salamence right here. Salamence right here. If you guys do not remember, we have one more Pokeball to use. We have to be very careful with it. So I decided to go out into my Lapras to Body Slam and paralyze into him. Eventually, I go for the Pokeball on when he's at red HP. He goes for a Pokeball, he barely doesn't catch, he pops out, and I'm like, no, this doesn't count. I go for a Dive Ball. You know what, I capture it in a Dive Ball. Technically, I used the first 5 Pokeballs. Technically, this is just my 5th Pokemon in a different casing. So that's just my reasoning on it. I just didn't want to lose the Salamence, guys. Come on, let me use the Salamence. It's my video. I'm just going to pretend the rules just adjusted for me. From there, though, we can use my Salamence to use Dragon Dance. I mean, I can just teach Dragon Dance. I just couldn't believe I found something this cool. Anyways, we're gonna face off against Tate and Liza next. Tate and Liza are, I think they might be the last gym leader. Actually, they are. I believe they are the final gym leaders we gotta face off against, which is interesting because I haven't faced off against Tate and Liza in a difficult battle before. So we're gonna start the battle off against them using my Salamence. Bad play because this Lunatone is gonna be scary. It's gonna Ice Beam me, but I got a Swampert in the back with Muddy Water to knock him out, and then I can switch out into my Salamence against their Celebi. Celebi is not that good of a Pokemon. I'm gonna go for a Dragon Dance multiple times against him, and then go for a Fly, which knocks out the Celebi. They then go out to the Jirachi, which basically is a Celebi still. Earthquake to knock him out, which is nice, and the Earthquake again to knock out the Alakazam. I'm not too sure Dragon Claw is physical move in this game, because I feel like it should knock out the Xatu, but we 2-shot the Xatu at least, and then we 1-shot the Girafarig, and we're able to beat Tate and Liza. Super simple. From there though, firstly, Salamence became my favorite Pokemon to use, as you can see, as I'm just sweeping everyone down with Salamence, not a care in the world. But also, from there we have acquired each of the gym badges in the game, so we're actually able to go out and face off against the Elite Four next. We're going to do our final preparations, make sure we sell everything we don't need, like Pokeballs. It didn't count as cheating. I'm just going to say it didn't count as cheating. I caught the Salamence. You know, Salamence's low capture rate. Doesn't count, guys. Anyways, from there, we're going to face off against the Elite Four next. Our first Elite Four fight is going to be against Drake. So we're going to start our Elite Four challenge off against Drake and his level 88 Flygon. I'm going to start the battle off against him using my Salamence. He starts with a Flygon though, so I'm able to Dragon Dance in front of him, and then again another Dragon Dance. He goes for Protect twice, as I'm able to Dragon Claw and knock him out, and at this point, I'm pretty sure I outspeed everything, so I'm able to Dragon Claw into him, knock out his Latios. My Salamence, doesn't survive a Dragon Claw, as I'm able to knock him out as well, knock out the Kingdra, and knock out the Altaria. Altaria lives with 1 HP, of course it does, but for sure I'm outspeeding him, and I get a crit on the Dragon Claw, and his final Pokemon will be a Dragonite. I don't think he has multi-scale, but I couldn't be too sure. I switch out to my Lapras. He takes a Thunder super well. What is this Lapras? Monster Tank and outspeeds the Dragonite. Ice Beam to knock him out in 1 shot as we beat down Drake. We receive our first Elite Four badge, which is crazy. From there, we're going to have to also face off against trainers, because trainers and routes, mainly trainers, because there's more trainers than routes apparently, are going to be the main focus, because you want to level your Pokemon up into the level cap possible, because they don't have an area for you to level up before the Elite Four fight. So once you go to the Elite Four fight, make sure you're at the level cap. We're going to head into the next Elite Four member, which is going to be Glacia. Glacia's going to start the battle off against us using a Glalie, and I started off with Salamence, so I'm going to switch out for sure. I switched out into my Blaziken to bulk up in front of his Glalie. I take an Earthquake like it's nothing, and then Blaze Kick him in the face and knock him out. Knock out his Piloswine as well, and knock out his Jinx as well. Oh my god, my Blaziken is crazy. He then switches out into his Cloyster though, which I'm not too big of a fan of. This thing can really destroy me. Luckily enough, it doesn't use an Ice Move, as I'm able to Ancient Power into him and don't knock him out. So I gotta switch out into my Swampert. Luckily enough, Swampert will be able to 2-shot him, as they don't use any items, so it's actually pretty good for us. From there, she switches out into her Articuno, which I don't have a plan for. I decided to go out into my Lapras. Lapras, the only thing I could really think of as a play right here. Lapras going to body slam into the Articuno until it gets paralyzed. Unfortunately, it does have rest, so it constantly goes for rest and heal bell. It's going to be very annoying. Lucky enough, I hit land a Hydro Pump. It still isn't enough, so I decided to go for a Confuse Ray. It hits itself in confusion multiple times as I'm able to get it down on low HP. From there, I'm able to outspeed it somehow and then body slam to knock him out. And then her final Pokemon will be her own Lapras, which I go for a Confuse Ray. It has a Lumberry to cure it, so I'm in a bit of trouble. So I decided to go out to my Breloom next, actually. Breloom's going to survive a Dunbolt and then luckily go for a Spore, outspeed him, and then go for a few Mach Punches. 2 Mach Punches looks like it's about to kill, and it does, as we're able to beat down Glacia. And from there, next up, we clear through the next floor and face off against the next Elite Four member. We're going to face off against Phoebe next. Phoebe is going to be the Ghost type Elite Four member. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Salamence. We're actually going to Dragon Dance once against her and then Earthquake into her. 2 Earthquakes would knock her out, which is pretty nice. Oh, well, I go for a Dragon Claw. Her next Pokemon is a Gengar, which I go for a Dragon Claw. It doesn't kill, but she goes for a Taunt as I'm able to Dragon Claw once again to knock her out. Her next Pokemon will be a Sableye. I go for a Dragon Claw. It does not kill him. Dragon Claw is very weak in this game, as I'm able to knock him out with a second one. Earthquake will one-shot the Bayonet. The Shedinja comes out. I have Fly for him. And then her final Pokemon will be a Mischievous, which I'm able to knock him out with a Dragon Claw, as my Salamence is carrying. This is why I told you guys, just let me bend the rules just a little bit. From there, we're going to actually go out and just trade up our Pokemon. I mean, there's not a lot of items for us. There's not a lot of things for us to do. We found ourselves a shiny Torkoal on accident. I think that's why I showed this clip. But we're also going to train our Pokemon up to the level cap, of course, all that. And we're going to face off against the final Elite Four member before the champion, of course. Our final Elite Four member is technically the first Elite Four member. We're going to face off against Sydney next. Sydney is going to be the Dark-type Elite Four member, and he starts with a Murkrow. They're running out of Pokemon. Didn't he use Umbreon? I don't know. I'm going to get 2 Dragon Dances off against him, and Dragon Claw to knock out the Murkrow. Earthquake to knock out the Mightyena. Earthquake to knock out the Absol. Earthquake again. Fly, actually, I decided to use Fly to switch it up, knock out the Sableye, and then I go for an Earthquake against the Umbreon, 2-shot him, of course. He's gonna go for a Wish, though. It actually gets a little bit risky down here, but eventually I am able to Earthquake and knock out the Umbreon, and then 2-shot into the Crawdon to knock him out, and things are looking pretty good. Since we cleared through all the Elite Four members, we can actually go out and face off against the champion next. Unfortunately, though, I messed up. I didn't train up my Pokemon before going into the champion, so I'm actually under level for the final fight. So, I'm going to start the battle off against the champion under level. My first Pokemon will be a Salamence, as his first Pokemon is going to be a Feraligatr. I just go for a Dragon Dance. I don't know. I couldn't think of anything to do, so I went for a Dragon Dance. He goes for a Surf. I decided to go for a Fly to break his substitute, and then go for a Dragon Dance when he's sleeping. And eventually, he's going to wake up and Surf me as I get 5 Dragon Dances. And that should be enough to sweep his team. Earthquake to knock out the Feraligatr. Everyone jumps to level 100. Earthquake to knock out the Gorbis. Earthquake to knock out the Slowbro and the Wailord. The Quagsire goes down as well, and his final Pokemon will be a Crawdon. Where's Smiletick? Well, his Crawdon goes down as well as we beat down Wallace as the champion. But that is not the end of the game, though. We have one more place to go. We're going to heal up our Pokemon and then head into the final floor. And the final trainer we got to face off against is Steven Stone. Steven Stone is going to start the battle off against us using a Steelix. I started with Salamence. He lowers the attack stat at least, so it's a good start always. I go out to my Lapras to Hydro Pump into the Steelix to knock him out in one shot. He then decides to switch out into his Deoxys, which, yeah, kind of powerful, I'm not going to lie. I decided to go out to my Breloom, which I don't know why this was the move. I think I was panicking a little bit because I didn't expect him to have one Deoxys. I went for a Headbutt to break his substitute. Unfortunately, I do lose a Pokemon at the end, though. As you can see, I lost my Breloom, and then for some reason, I decided to go out to my Salamence to go for a Dragon Dance when I just saw him use Ice Beam, so I decided to go for a Dragon Claw to knock out his Deoxys. Unfortunately, Sandstorm's gonna knock me out, so not too sure what the game plan was there. So I went out to my Blaziken, and lucky enough, Blaziken actually sweeps the entire battle. So I could have done that the whole time. I'm not too sure what was going on in this battle, but all I know, my brain was not working, as I'm able to beat down Steven Stone pretty easily with just my Blaziken. And we end up beating Pokemon Emerald Rogue with only using the first 5 Pokeballs. That was interesting, I'm not gonna lie. That was a pretty fun ROM hack. I'm just more surprised that I'm an idiot at the end. Of course, I played everything else pretty well, pretty safely, until the end. I don't know why I decided to Dragon Dance in front of Deoxys when I had a Swampert in the back, when I had anything else in the back. Sometimes you gotta live with your consequences. I did unfortunately have to lose my MVP Salamence, but that was pretty fun though. If you guys want me to do more Emerald Rogue, let me know in the comments down below. If you guys also enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe to my channel. We're on our way to 40,000 subscribers. We're very close. We're like 800 subs away. If you guys could subscribe to my channel. Anyways, my name's been Alpha. Hope you all had a great day, and I am out. Peace.